Hello everybody, this is Jen from Scrapping Posh and I am here with my tutorial for my 4x4 mini album D design. This is going to be the last one in this series, at least for a while. I have some other projects started, so we shall move on. Now here's the new template for the mini albums. These are available on my website or blogspot, www.scrappingposh.blogspot.com, under the free downloads. This is actually JPEG, so if you right click on that image on my blog, you can save as and you have a printable version. So we're starting out with the cover that has already been produced, and you can see how to make that cover in that hinge system on the 4x4 mini album cover tutorial, which I will link at the end of this video. Now this video is going to go fast, as well as the B and C design did, because essentially these pages are all the same with the exception of one component, which makes these pages a little bit diverse and brings some interest to an album. So on this particular album, these base pages that I am taping together now are the same as they were on the last 3 albums. The only difference is this component, which is a flap, and instead of going on the right side of the page as we did in the A design, we're going to have it come from the top down. So the thinking behind these mini albums is that we can make many different combinations of pages. You can make all the same page, which I have done in these last 4 videos, or you can mix and match the pages. I'm going to be doing several of these albums that have all 4 page designs in them, 2 of each page, which is typical, I think, for a mini album to have some repeating pages and elements in them. So right now, as always, I am taking my score tape and going to tape my base pages to the hinges, and then I am going to be using after I put my pages together, I'm going to be using the matte stack from DCWV called All Dressed Up. It's a darker stack, and I think it looks really good with black paper base. So we'll be kind of exploring that and seeing how this all comes together. As I've said before, these mini albums take one piece of 12 by 12 cardstock, and if you're doing it on the Cameo silhouette, it takes 9 pieces of 8.5 by 11. If you're doing it by hand, it takes 8 pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. And both the Cameo file and the template are downloadable on my blog, so you can head on over that way and use those items. And if you do, I'd appreciate any feedback that you have. So also on the templates, the hand cut templates, someone had requested, Estelle had requested that I put the metric conversions from inches to metric. So I have done that on all 4 and the cover versions of the template. And if anybody uses those, if you see any mistakes, please let me know. I am not familiar with metrics. I just know how to convert them. So hopefully that all works out great for you guys, and I'm happy to bring everybody the option, including outside of the United States, as everybody else uses metric. Yes, bring you guys the option to create these mini albums along with me. So I've made, I believe, somewhere between 6 and 8 of these albums, and I do think that they're cute. They're inexpensive to make, they're fast to make, so it's kind of gratifying to have a completed project within one day. And not to mention when you have, good 6 or 7 of them laying around, it just gives me a sense of accomplishment that I actually made several albums, and I can't wait to give you guys the information on how the whole sale goes. And if I don't sell them, then I will probably be posting them on my Etsy shop. If I don't sell them on my Etsy shop, then I'll probably be giving them away. So, um, yeah, that's fun stuff to come. Speaking of giveaways, I am currently at 910 subscribers, and when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be giving away a prize package. I have several discontinued Graphic 45 collections, and I'll be giving away at least a paper pad and whatever embellishments I have to go along with those. Be giving those away when I hit the 1,000 subscribers. So be on the lookout for that. And I just think that that's something that I can do for you guys besides, this. So I appreciate you guys commenting, subscribing, and watching me, sharing with me your comments, and allowing me to share these things with you, because I don't have anybody around that scrapbooks. So you are my audience and my scrappy friends. So those mats that I'm cutting now are for the cover, the spine, and the inside cover. So I take the paper that I like the most and use them for the outside and inside covers, and I use the that way I'm sure that I don't cut down what I really want to use for that. And then the rest of it, it's just kind of random. I don't really pick out any particular designs for any particular page, because these papers all go together. They're all from the same stack, which is awesome. And it's just quicker and easier this way. And I've done several of the albums, and I think they all look pretty good. So I don't think being too picky about the paper, spending too much time trying to figure out which paper should go where, I just don't really see that it's worth the time and effort put into it. The one thing that I may suggest to you guys is that if you are going to do this, you may want to pay attention to which direction your paper's going. I did notice that on at least my grade school album, which is the last one I did, a lot of the papers I probably would have liked going in a portrait style, where it ended up being a landscape style, which the book is versatile. You can turn it one way or another. But for the most part, I'm thinking that we can, I'm going to use photos, or I'm hoping whoever buys it uses photos, and most of that will be covered up anyways. So basically you'll just have a really good background and matching background for different photos. So I'm not horribly concerned about it, but I do pay attention to that later on when I'm making some albums. So just something to watch. And this process, like I said before, is very similar to the last processes I did. And as you make more of these mini albums, and as you cut more of these pages and mats out, you'll find ways to be more efficient with your time and your paper utilization. So that's always nice. So these particular mats here are 7/8 by 3 3/8, I believe. They are, yes, 3 3/8. These are for the no, I'm sorry, 7/8 by 3 7/8, and these are for the belly bands. And and I just cut those out first because they were laying there, and then I have these little pieces that are already about 1 1/8 inch long, and I cut those out next because they're pretty much already to size. One thing I did find is that it's really hard to cut these, at least it is on the Caterpillar that I have there. So I end up getting a 1 inch punch. It's like a postage stamp punch, and it's a lot less cumbersome than trying to cut all those little 1 1/8 inch squares out to use as to mat those placeholders. So the other thing that is nice about these is that you can take the same paper or the same pattern and cut out the same types of mats. Like I think these are for, oh, what are those for? I think those are for the tags. And I'm making 2 of each of the same mats, and because they're not right next to each other, you really can't tell that, or it's not noticeable. So even though they're all cut out of they're cut out of the same paper, it's not in your face noticeable. And like I said before, sometimes repetition is nice. And you can see that I didn't have the best utilization on this particular album. This one and the A design they use a little bit more paper because the flaps use 2 pieces each, whereas the diagonal pocket and the extra mat only use 1 small mat each. So I do distress the sides of this paper with the black ink, and I've done that to almost all of the albums. I may have forgotten to mention, but I like the finished look of it, whereas especially on the black cardstock, if you do not ink those edges with the DCWV paper, it's a very stark white core. So just taking my covers, my spine, using score tape on all 4 sides of those to make sure that it gets adhered down really well, and using my ATG gun in the center. So, and again, I strategically picked out that paper to kind of give it the look that I wanted. This paper pack, you could have gone with blacks and whites, teals and greens, or it also has some pinks in there, so it's a very versatile paper pack. And this is kind of a girly stack, so you could put all sorts of embellishments on there. And I do the same with the inside covers as I do with the outside cover, and that is tape all 4 sides down with the score tape, and then use the ATG in the middle. You can also do things with these albums that I haven't shown yet, but I may do a collaborative video while I'm decorating the full amount of my albums, all the mixed ones that I'm doing. And you can add pockets or stickers or extra journaling cards. So I'll probably be experimenting with that just to give all the albums a little bit of diversity. I'm hoping that if I do that, that some people will see a certain element in one album that they're extremely interested in. Okay, so now I speed you up to super fast in this section of the video, and all I'm doing is matting the photos, or I'm sorry, matting the pages with the different pattern papers. So nothing new or exciting except for that one top flap that folds down instead of from the side like it did on the A page design. And it does speed up your process if you do all of the same types of things at once, because I I glued all the pages at once, and I cut all the mats at once, and now I'm matting the whole album at the same time. It does considerably cut down on the time it takes you to make these albums. So another album that I was talking about, I talked about when I was doing my C design album that I was thinking about doing some 6x6 albums, which I definitely am. But another element that I'd like to add to those 6x6 elements, or those 6x6 albums, are some Project Life cards. I have a ton of Project Life cards, so I think I'm going to be adding, at least several of those Project Life cards to give some interest in those albums. Unfortunately, these albums aren't big enough to add them. They would stick out at the side, because if they were small, if the Project Life cards were smaller, I would definitely stick them in there. So for the rest of this video, it's pretty much repetition of what I've done in the past. I just kind of filmed it for you again so that you have something to watch while you're making your own albums. So what I'm going to do is put on some music and let you guys finish up your albums themselves, and stay tuned for the next video. I will link at the end of this video to both the cover tutorial and the next video that I have in process, which is going to be doing a hybrid album of all the different page designs. So again, as always, I appreciate everybody watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to contact me. And I want everybody to have a great day. Thank you very much.